What's going on, everyone? ActivesiN here, and we got some news about the Nintendo Switch. This comes from Eurogamer and Digital Foundry. They essentially have released the clock speeds and the GPU speed of the Nintendo Switch. It's a pretty long article, so we're just going to focus on one key area here. They're just talking about the Tegra X1 up here. And Digital Foundry did do a in-depth analysis of this, so make sure to check that out as well. Let's see, here we go. Where Switch remains consistent is in its CPU power. The cores will run at 1020 megahertz regardless of whether the machine is docked or undocked. This ensures that running game logic won't be compromised while gaming on the go. The game simulation itself will remain entirely consistent. The machine's embedded memory controller runs at 1600 MHz, while docked on par with the standard Tegra X1. But the default power mode unlocked sees this drop to 1331 MHz. However, developers can opt to retain full memory bandwidth in their titles should they choose to do so. As things stand, the CPU clocks are halved compared to the standard Tegra X1, but it's the GPU aspect of the equation that will prove more controversial. Even while docked, Switch does not run at Tegra X1's full potential. Clock speeds are locked at 768 MHz, considerably lower than the 1 GHz found in the Shield Android TV. But the big surprise from our perspective was the extent of which Nintendo has downclocked the GPU to hit thermal and battery life targets. That's not a typo, it really says 307.2 MHz, meaning that in portable mode, Switch runs at exactly 40% of the clock speed of the docked device. And yes, the tablet below does indeed confirm that developers can choose to hobble Switch performance when plugged in to match the handheld profile if they choose. And here they have a little chart of the speed of the device. So it says available CPU speeds when it's undocked 1020 megahertz, and when it's docked 1020 megahertz. So this isn't going to change, so that's good. The GPU can vary quite a bit. When it's undocked, here it says 307.2 megahertz, or when it's docked it can go up to 768 megahertz. It's very strange that they're not utilizing the full 1 gigahertz while it's docked, because obviously battery is not an issue while it's docked, so I'm not sure why they're not letting that max out. And the memory bandwidth in megahertz, you can go either 1331 or up to 1600 megahertz, which would be the maximum of the Tegra X1 anyways. So it's pretty interesting. It's essentially, it says here the GPU can boost up to 2.5 times as powerful when it's docked as opposed to when it's in handheld mode. So handheld mode, we know rumors, whatever, that it will be 720p on the handheld when you're going around. So I guess the 307 megahertz is enough for that. And the reasoning behind clocking it so low down to 307 megahertz is to improve battery life and thermals, which I guess makes sense. And again, 720p, they don't need to use all the power. I still find it strange that it's not going to go max out the 1 gigahertz again. I think that's kind of weird, but at the same time, I guess that's all they would need to do 1080p, at least when Nintendo games are concerned. And we saw some other stuffs like Skyrim, and NBA 2K was running on it, so it can play some games. And I think the Dark Souls devs said they had Dark Souls 3 running on the Switch and they were happy with the performance. So it doesn't seem to be too much of a hindrance. Again, we need more information. We need to see more games actually running on the Switch to really understand if this is powerful or not. I personally think it's way more than enough for Nintendo titles. Third-party titles, we'll see, like, can it run a game like Mass Effect? Who knows? The new Mass Effect, not the older ones. We'll see. We gotta see more games running on the Switch. I'm not too worried because, again, the Nvidia CEO himself said porting games to this system will be very easy from PC, Xbox, and PS4. And today it was also announced that the Switch will support Vulkan API and OpenGL 4.5, and also supports Unreal Engine 4. All things that the Nintendo Wii U could not do, so that's fantastic. So there's more engine choices and it's easier to port to. So I don't think it's a huge deal, to be honest. But again, time will tell. We need more information. But there you go. There's some more stuff in here. I'll put it in the description if you want to check out this article. But I think that was the most interesting part. We actually see the specs, the speeds, whatever you want to call it, of the Switch, what it's capable of. And yeah, we'll see on January 12th if this turns out to be true. But again, Nintendo doesn't really talk about specs, so who knows? Again, rumors, but this is from, again, Eurogamer, Digital Foundry, who have been pretty dead on with everything they've been talking about with the Switch so far. So I don't have any reason to doubt them at this point. But yeah, let me know what you think about this. Are you a little worried about this Switch? Do you think it's not going to get third-party games? Or are you like me, you don't think it's that big of a deal? Or do you just not care and you just want Nintendo games? Either way, let me know in the comments below. And I will talk to you next time. Bye.